Welcome all of you this morning to CID headquarters, and I'm going to read the press brief. This is the inaugural annual ODPP CID coordination meeting. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Criminal Investigations Directorate will hold the first annual ODPP CID coordination meeting under the theme, the contribution of ODPP CID in the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. The two-day meeting will take place on the 4th and the 5th of September at CID headquarters in Kampala. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, will be the chief guest. The participants are investigators, prosecutors, and some key stakeholders in the criminal justice system, coming to about a total of 620. In the implementation of their mandates, the DPP and Director CID have put in place approaches to strengthen prosecutors and investigators and ensure successful investigation and prosecution of criminal cases. One of the approaches is strengthening coordination, cooperation, and collaboration through ODPP CID coordination meetings at the central level and regional levels, which has led to the immeasurable success in court, even in sophisticated, high-profile cases. The current evolving nature of crime demands a concerted effort to address the unique challenges in undertaking effective investigation and, of course, prosecution. So, ODPP and CID coordination promotes and facilitates cooperation among the prosecutors and, of course, investigators to ensure effective measures and actions for the prevention, for the detection, investigation, and prosecution of crime in Uganda. In preparation for the upcoming election period, coupled, of course, with the need to strengthen collaboration to counter sophisticated and emerging crime trends manifesting in various crimes, including corruption, it was resolved during our last ODPP CID coordination meeting, which was held on the 11th of June 2024, right here at CID headquarters in Chibuli, that an annual ODPP CID coordination meeting be held involving the DPP, the Director CID, the heads of department, the regional officers, regional CID officers, the resident state attorneys, and the district CID officers, among others. The event's theme aims to examine how the ODPP and CID can effectively and efficiently work together to foster a socio-economic transformation in Uganda. It is expected at the end of the meeting that participants would have been equipped with knowledge and skills in investigation and prosecution of criminal cases, especially complex cases. They would have shared experiences, approaches, and best practices in handling criminal matters. That there would be enhanced coordination, cooperation, and communication, enhanced preparation for effective and efficient execution of the investigation and prosecution function in electoral offenses during the 2026 election period. That's just about 1 year to go. It's important for the ODPP and CID to work together to investigate and prosecute crimes effectively. By coordinating efforts, law enforcement and legal authorities can better uphold the law, create a secure environment, and support the government's initiatives for development and economic progress in Uganda. The upcoming meeting will focus on how the ODPP and CID can join forces to drive socio-economic development. You know, you can look at the office of the DPP and then you look at CID and you say, but how do they really contribute to the socio-economic development of Uganda? Let's just take a simple test of if the country, let's say even just for 1 day, police lays down, CID lays down their tools, the office of the DPP also lays down their tools, what's going to be happening? The criminals are going to be all over the place. And if the criminals are all over the place, if we are not working, which means there are no cases investigated, which means there are no cases taken to court, there's no one being held accountable, and which investor can actually come to invest in a country where they know that even if I take my investment there and anything goes wrong, there is no system. The rule of law is broken down. We cannot trust the police to investigate any case. We cannot trust the office of the DPP to actually prosecute any case. So even just to attract foreign investment, they will always look at how is the rule of law in that particular country. If I report a case, will the case be handled efficiently and effectively? So foreign investors want a country where there is actually peace. So I can say that we, as an office, CID and DPP, we actually contribute directly to the peace of this country. If we are investigating cases in time and prosecuting them successfully, and the bad people are actually taken away from society, definitely there will be peace. But if that is not done, criminals commit offenses and nothing is being done, definitely there will be anarchy. What will happen? People will take the law into their hands, and you'll be hearing of mob justice everywhere. People are being attacked in broad daylight. It will be the case everywhere. It will not be spotted cases. But you see that now, even as we speak, when there's a particular case, even just these social media posts which are being forwarded, people forward, and it comes to my attention, or it comes to the director CID, many of them, I've actually forwarded them to him and say, can we investigate it? Can we track? And I'm so happy that every time I get back a report and Director CID says, we have actually tracked down this particular person, maybe a mother beating a child or a father beating, and we have arrested the parent, and the case is in court. That is bringing tranquility in the country. So if the country is peaceful, so many things happen, so many. We can be able to go to your jobs, we can be able to sell 60,000 in a day, you know, and you'll be able to tell the truth every day. If we don't give you that environment, you'll not be able to tell the truth every day, you know. So we give you that environment to be able to operate. So that's what I can say, and I'm sure that my brother, the DPP, and the police, especially the CID, will work with us very, very closely. We don't know colors, we don't know parties. We don't do politics, we just do the law. We don't. So whether it comes, whether it is an NRM person who has committed an offense, whether it is an opposition, except the only thing is that every time we arrest an NRM person, the Farouks are very, very quiet. But when we arrest someone in the opposition, they say the DPP is being and the police are being. So for us, really, it is just, we just look at the crime. If it is a person from opposition who has committed the crime, yes, we shall definitely arrest the person, and if there's evidence, take them to court. So it doesn't matter whether they're opposition or in the ruling NRM party. So our collaboration really is for us to focus on what we are supposed to be doing. That is crime. Article 211 and 212 and Article 120 are very clear. For us, we just do criminal prosecutions in this country. So it is something like we are trying to do. We don't want to get into elections and then because we are scattered all over the country. We have staff who are going to be part of this conversation in these 2 days. They are scattered all over the country. We don't want uncoordinated movement when election, because all this, by the way, this is just the beginning. We're going to forecast for elections, we're going to forecast for famine, we're going for landslides, we're going to do all that, because that's what we have decided to do, that we should forecast on crimes and prepare for them, because we know the usual offenses that will arise from a particular, and from elections. How do we, and in this conversation of the 2 days, we are actually going to have someone from the Electoral Commission coming to educate us about the electoral laws and offenses, so that we actually can toe our line. We don't get out of line. We just toe our line if it's an offense and it's committed during elections. we shall definitely bring the people. And we are not just going to be arresting people, just arrest them. If you're caught, don't be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know. And definitely, you cannot stop police. If police actually don't arrest the wrong people, then they will not be doing their work. You'll be the same people who are saying police are just sleeping in Chibuli. They are not doing their work. So for us, our collaboration committed during elections, because really we have to accept that during elections, so many people are busy. Everyone is out. No one is in their houses. Everyone is out doing this. And it is always that we are dealing with people. They will always not really do the right thing. I was even talking about the anti-corruption work of the president. We still investigated, we still arrested people. It was the president who led the walk, a peaceful walk, but we still arrested people who were doing pickpocketing, all those things. So there will always be crime, really, that's where we come in. But if people are peaceful and they don't commit any crimes, we don't have any business there. So I want to let my brother, Mr. Magambo, also comment on how do we contribute to the socio-economic development of Uganda and, of course, our collaboration for the 2026.
They have assured you, I want to assure Ugandans that we are working very closely with DPP to ensure we do our part of what the people of Uganda have asked us to do. Especially, the Constitution is very clear. In fact, it's not about led, it's now guided. In fact, if you see our Constitution, the Director of Public Prosecution guides criminal investigations. So even earlier today, if you observed, we had a number of meetings which were to again guide. So we have moved far from CID doing whatever they want, and DPP later comes in to a situation where now we are sitting together and the DPP guides every step. And that's why I think the country has witnessed some very, very quick investigations. These days, even I think we should rate our, we commit people very fast because we have been working together. And I think that's what you have been looking for as Ugandans. And that's the justice you want, that if we get you, the file is done very fast. This story of, police is still investigating. I think we have started moving on that journey. So as she has ably told you, these coming 2 days is part of that process to have that conversation. This is not to say that we have reached 100%. We are not yet where we want to be. So the purpose of bringing both our teams countrywide into a room and we discuss and see their challenges is again to increase how best we can serve the population. So I think you should actually commend this process, because it means a Ugandan in Ajumani, a Ugandan in Arua, they are going to start getting slightly better services from our two teams. Now, as far as information on criminal investigations is concerned, Anthony, I think we have a very competent public relations officer, whom I want also to congratulate here. He's going to work out a mechanism where we can be much more accountable to you, much more able to give you the information. But what we have also resisted is a situation of turning CID and DPP into a center of blackmail. Because we are like a hospital, really. When they allege on you, the investigations are done. Sometimes you are innocent. Sometimes there's something you have to answer for. So we also don't want to turn our work into a situation where wherever they allege on somebody, then we are part of the embarrassing part of it. Because our Constitution is very clear that someone is innocent until. So I would expect the media to understand this better, because it can be you yourself tomorrow. So give us chance to have a system which accounts to you when we are ready to account to you. Not to turn it into a house where we blackmail people, we intimidate people, and then eventually some funny people out there start to extort. So we are trying to do that to make sure that the CID is not a center of embarrassing Ugandans, because they can only be proven in court. And it's at that point in court that we can be able to have a lot of information on these people. Now, finally, I saw our people here worrying, is there a challenge? We are trying to sort of, why are we meeting? I think this is a bit of skepticism. You know, one of our strategic priorities as CID is basically to build stakeholder engagement. And that's what DPP is also working toward. And therefore, the purpose of these forums is to try to check the boxes. Are we moving well? We are aware some of our elements within are still having deviant behavior out there. So when we sit inside here, we are going to discuss all those, the discipline, the ability to investigate, the ability to keep on track. And I think this is good for our society, in my view. Because these are your brothers, they are your relatives, they are... Justice Abodo does not come, you know, all the people in DPP's office are not from her family in the home. Neither am I. These fellas are your relatives, they are your brothers, and it is the same you who keep complaining of, oh, they have not handled me well, oh. So you should actually be happy that we are calling all of them together in one room, and then we have a conversation. How are you serving our people? And when we do that, I think we shall have achieved much of what you so much desire. Now, I was avoiding the politics. I think the DPP has done very well to explain to you. Are we plotting to, you know? The truth is, we should assure Ugandans that we are working day and night to ensure we have a free and fair election. There will be no chaos here. If you are busy planning chaos, then you should expect the system to come for you. I don't want, my Lord, I don't want to lie to Ugandans. That's why you pay us. That's why we are holding these offices. Our people must have a peaceful election, and whoever is planning to threaten our people, regardless of the political colors, our work in the Constitution is to make sure that does not happen. So I will be lying to you, the fourth estate that you see, we are going to sit down and smile as you burn the city, that one will not happen. We are planning anarchy. You prepare yourself. Prepare, because that's what the Constitution has asked us to do. You don't expect a director of CID to turn into a pastor. There are people who can do this work very well, of spiritual work. So the work of a director of CID is really to make sure the bad people don't disorganize our society. So I want to say this on record to all of you so that you don't have doubts. But as I said, we are going to operate within the Constitution. And that's why the DPP is here. That's why the DPP is supposed to guide me to make sure that whatever we are doing it within the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. And I don't think that Constitution says anarchy is also okay to burn people's homes.
Meeting. We are going to be handling corruption cases. We're going to be handling cases, electoral cases. We are going to be handling land cases as well, because we realized as an office, together with the CID, that we have a problem with land matters. Some of our foot soldiers on the ground are actually turning some of the land matters which are civil into criminal. So you find that it becomes easier for you to report a criminal case, and then police go and make arrests. Even if someone is arrested for just 1 hour, the title has changed hands and names in the registry. So we thought we should focus on land cases and bring a distinction between what is actually a land crime and define it to our officers who are actually in the field, who handle the bulk of these cases, because we see that land cases are becoming like a boiling point for most of the cases. Even defilements come out of land wrangles. Murders, attempted murder, threatening violence, all the assaults, all the cases you can think of, actually. So we think that if we focus on land cases, we can actually be able to reduce some of these cases. So those are some of the offenses that we are going to be discussing on. And I think Director CID already answered for Judith, and your last question of why CID is not allowing journalists in. We know that you are our greatest allies. The press. The press is a very important equation, by the way, in the fight against corruption, in the fight against crime. The press is a very important ally for us. We would rather give you the truth than you manufacturing your own truth, because the truth every day might become untruth every day. So we would rather give you so that you say out and you help us to disseminate this to the wider audience. And for Judith, what are the challenges that you hope to get with the CID? I think Director CID ably answered that one, and I will not repeat that. And I think he also touched on what Veronica was talking about, that with the two-day meeting yield fruits during elections. Definitely, if we are better prepared, and if our staff, our foot soldiers, actually know how to react. Director CID has already told you very point blank that the ones we go for are the wrong elements. If you plan to do wrong, we shall definitely, and you pay us to do that. Otherwise, we shall not be doing our work. So if there are wrong elements, we shall help you and clean up the environment and remove them first, as the good people enjoy, because it's really answered by Director CID, that we only get the wrong people. And the last one is delayed investigations. This actually it impacts directly on that, because then we are going to actually we already started at the center, so we want to cascade it into the field. That how do we work smarter and faster, because we are talking about efficient and effective. If it is efficient and effective, which means investigations should take the shortest time possible. By the delayed investigations, even this morning we had a meeting here of a prosecution guided investigation that we are carrying out currently. And we tell them that you have to do this investigation. We should have, if there are any people to be taken to court, we should take them within the month. Otherwise, if it gets delayed, it is actually not an investigation anymore. It becomes a witch hunt. Not so, because then there is nothing much you're getting. You're just going to be getting actually have an effect. Even in the field, we are going to see that. And of course, we are also in the field most of the time. I know Director CID has been there. And even when he goes, he also meets with my prosecutors. And when I also go, I meet with the investigators. And so that is, I think we are going to, with time, we are going to see. Of course, I cannot tell you that immediately we are going to have delayed investigations are going to, because some investigations are actually going to delay, those complex ones. I don't want to lie to you. Corruption investigations, which are complex, will definitely delay because of the layers and layers of investigations that are involved. But otherwise, I think we have answered all your questions, unless if there's someone who thinks we have not.
Give me clear instructions on what I was supposed to do here. And maybe if you wish to know, in summary, there were about 4 things or 5, which I now can tell you as Ugandans. One, he said, go and work on the mindset. We need a CID which is aligned to serving the socio-economic transformation of our people. So part of the activities you have been seeing have been on training. So many trainings with the support of the police leadership. We are everywhere, our people are everywhere training. And in that training, we are trying not only to take them through our technical aspects of investigation, but also the why they investigate. How we align the CID work to the prosperity of our people. So the president was very clear, and we have been firm on that, and that explains much of the activities. Now, the second one, when you train people, you must place the right people in the right jobs. Now, this is always a struggle. You find you have a lawyer or you have an engineer who is supposed to help here, same flani, but maybe for some reasons he's in another location. So as we train, you may have noticed whoever comes out of training is also being reassigned different responsibilities. It is in line with that guidance. How do we place our best people in the right positions? Now, this takes a gradual process. And when you do that, the third one was go and work on the tools. How can we build a CID which can serve Uganda for 20, 30 years? Do they have, the criminals have migrated now to the space, the cyberspace. Does CID have that capacity? So part of the activities, you may have realized, we are working hard to tap on the existing potential so that we can investigate. The DPP was telling you, oh, there is a cybercrime somewhere. CID investigate this. So we are trying to build those technical capacities so that we can quickly verify. Now, the fourth one was on the environment, because you cannot expect miracles from people whom you have not looked after. And you know, you have heard recently, I'm sure, the government has addressed the issue of salary enhancement. We may not be where we want to be, but clearly there is a what? A step. Then the working environment. So I'm happy what you are talking about. All this is basically because we have taken a deliberate decision to improve on the working environment of our officers. And this we are hoping is going to be supported by government so that we can go down to the regions, to the districts, until when the lowest police station, and the president has been very clear. He has directed the police leadership to implement a sub-county policing model, which I'm sure soon you will get to know more about its progress. So our design is to see how best we can reform up to the lowest sub-county policing model. And then the last one is the strategic partnerships. So basically all those 5 strategic priorities are something which the president has directly guided us, and we are working every single day to move on each of them. And we believe at the end of that institutional reform, we should be having a CID that DPP is proud of. Because the criminal justice system starts here. When we don't do our work well, the DPP is going to struggle in court to prosecute people. The judiciary will not have the right evidence and the right prosecution to administer fair justice. And eventually you'll end up having people in prison, sometimes who may not necessarily. We have also, again, part of coordination. We also realized from our lessons, when something happens, all agencies of government should not be investigating the same thing, because we already have so much to deal with. So in one of our strategic meetings, the president was very categorical, and he has guided us. If the DPP and CID are handling something, then the IGG will really not waste time there, unless we share with her certain elements which she can go with. If the IGG is already handling, like as you have mentioned, indeed the president directed IGG to handle Kitez, we have been supporting her in terms of if there are arrests being made, he will ask the police. And so we give each person to take a what? A lead. Because it, one, saves time, it saves duplication of resources, but then it allows other agencies to concentrate on other strategic issues. I don't know whether you had a rumor that when a matter is in courts of law, we have limitations on how much we can discuss. Did you hear that rumor, Galiwa? It's true, eh? So, you know, the DPP is my biggest lawyer. You know, for us, we're a bit of bushmen, a bit not very, very. So she has taught me that very well. So I am very guarded on discussing cases which are already in court. But what I can tell you, every investigation we undertake, say for example, cooperatives, there will be so many allegations. There will be so many complaints, and the public would want us to just, I think, go in, even those who are innocent. So the purpose why we are paid a salary and why DPP is supposed to check on the evidence is to say, is it actually true Galiwango is directly criminally responsible for this? It's not about populism. So that's why you see that sometimes slowness. Indeed, you can find much of the public says this man is a thief. But when you check, the man has never signed anywhere. The man has no traces for you to take him to court. And you know, when you go to those courts, the judge will demand that you actually have proof on the table. So part of our dilemma, and I think the demand by the Constitution, is to make sure that we investigate and the DPP is satisfied and the courts have concrete evidence in order to administer justice. So I hear your frustration. In fact, for me, if it was not for her and the Constitution, sometimes we would go back to our old traditional system. They just say, Galiwango, you're a thief. Whether I have not seen, we put you there. And the wananchi, we shoot you. But is that what the Constitution says? There must be fairness. And since we operate in a legal framework, we must accept that these processes must be complete. People can put, say, from what we have, let's wait. But even after some years, we can, if we get evidence, I'm sure if you have been following even internationally, there are murders, there are cases which have remained unsolved for many years. But once evidence comes, then the system gives us a window to reinstate those cases. So all is not lost, but we appreciate. But it would be unfair for me not to tell you about this, back to the why we are trying to coordinate. For instance, premature arrest. Find the number of our people are picked up before thorough investigations are done. So part of the discussion we are having tomorrow with our officers is, unless it is terrorism, unless it is certain categories where we can't wait. If somebody has stolen money, why don't we investigate? And then when we are satisfied, then we come for you. If you have realized these days, you know, we have even put a permanent gate now at Chivuli. These days when we call you here, many times getting out is very hard. Have you observed that, Galwa? Because by the time we call you, it means we have done our work. And I think you as members of the press, I'm sure you may have observed. Because by the time we invite you, it means we have done a lot of work. And I think that is what we should do, that to avoid premature arrests. Do your work, do it well. When you are satisfied, go for somebody. That's why you are lucky today you came, you will go. But others, when we invite them, they have a problem leaving this place because it means we have a good case on you by the time we come for you. But I think my sister, the DPP, is going to talk about a bit on the program. We have issues to do with human rights, which we have invited experts to come and talk to our people, how to operate within the law. We have issues of land, like there are a lot of issues we want to talk to them about. But all this is aimed at improving the quality of our service.
We shall never have enough. We shall never have enough numbers. The structure talks of 833, but we are only 400. But we are just saying that when shall we reach the 800? So how do we work within the 400? And you know, the situation gets worse, I think, when judiciary is recruiting. It gets worse for the office of the DPP, because now we are going back to the same thing of one prosecutor appearing before 4 judicial officers, and then we have not enough investigators on the ground. But we shall never have enough numbers. But of course, the office of the DPP is still operating below. Even with the 100 we just got into 400. Now judiciary is recruiting and even taking from the office of the DPP, you know, eh? So it is not just that we are not even recruiting. The officers are going, others are retiring. I think we have about 6 who are retiring within this year. Others will be taken hopefully to the judiciary, which of course we have no problem, but we are saying if we could have replacements, that would be good for us. So the numbers, we really don't have the numbers. That's what sometimes affects us. We have cases, we have cooperatives, the same people are investigating. We have iron sheets, the same people are investigating. So sometimes also we feel a bit for our staff that I hope they don't get a burnout, they don't suffer a burnout. But we are trying to work within the numbers that we have and do the best that we can. On the issue of the iron sheets, we opened about 23 files, I think, 23 files. We have 3 cases ongoing in court. And the other files, we actually, in the first 1 month, I closed 17 files because there was not enough evidence to actually get a criminal offense on the people. Because you find that these are politicians, their assistants are very, I could call them active, very active. They're the ones who receive the iron sheets, and the iron sheets are taken. These are people who don't benefit from it. They're actually taken to churches, they're taken to schools, and the investigators went to every church and every school where these iron sheets were. Whether they were roofed, they took pictures. So why would I be charging? Criminally, there's really no criminal offense. But maybe you could say that it was wrong for the politician to have gotten those iron sheets. But criminally, I couldn't see a criminal offense. So I really closed those 17 files outright. The other files which remained, we did investigations, and I found that we were not really getting anywhere. I could not see, because for me, my lenses are for criminal offenses. If there's no criminal offense, I don't waste a lot of time in that. So I told the CID, keep those files, and know that criminal cases never die. That's what I told him. Criminal cases never die. Maybe after 10 years, we might more evidence might come, and we reopen those files. So we close them and put away, but they can be reopened at any time when we have evidence on them. But for now, I hope that Ramson, for now, I don't have any criminal offense to charge anyone who was involved in that. But for the 3 where we could actually get a criminal offense, we charged them, and the cases are in court, and they are ongoing. Yes. And I'm very happy that my brother here, Rusoke, is here. He's going to definitely streamline that. I think that will be streamlined, and definitely you'll get access. Yeah, you'll get access to what you're supposed to access. Yes. So I think the iron sheets, those ones have been put to rest. And then for the, maybe I should, we are also going to talk about the Human Rights Enforcement Act. That act as an office, we may not agree with it to a large extent, but it's the law, and we have to implement it. And I'll tell you why we don't agree with it to a large extent. We have to implement it. So we are trying to get our officers to really teach them about the Act and say, please, you work within the law. If you get out of line, the Human Rights Enforcement Act will get you, and you'll be personally held liable. What we don't agree with the Act is that the fact that the offense, the Act doesn't seem to care about the victim of crime, just for lack of a better word, caring about the victim of crime. A defilement is done. Some defilements can be so annoying that it annoys the whole community. You know, a 2-year-old defiled and completely torn. So you find that most times, before even police reach there, the suspect is already beaten, and police is actually called and say, come and save. And this person is taken to the cells, bleeding profusely. Then what does he do? He raises up his hands and says, I was tortured. And of course, you can see the marks on him, whether they are torture marks or not. You can see. Now the law says, now let's first concentrate now on this accused. Forget about the defilement that occurred. And if actually it is proved, actually the case is stopped completely. You don't do anything about that case. That's what is happening with Kitutu. The case has been stopped since. We are just here waiting. She says she was tortured mentally by confiding her in a place. She was tortured mentally. So that case should be forgotten. That 2-year-old torn and what should be forgotten. And you first handle this accused. And you can imagine that if we don't prove, if the case is not proved, then they actually say that this person was actually tortured because the torture marks are there, that this other case should be forgotten completely, like it didn't exist. Are we not trying to create some kind of mob justice at the end of the day? That is the extent to which we don't agree with the law, that law. But it is not in my place we implement it. That's why we are paid to implement that law. So we implement it. We are trying to teach our officers not to be caught by this and just to do the right thing and work within the law. We do our part. We have you, and by the way, my office, we object to bail. We shall definitely object to bail. If someone is rearrested as an office of the DPP, we may not know. Maybe they have another offense that they're supposed to be answering to. But that's why we say we need to sit together, because we have other stakeholders as well. Even judiciary we have called in this meeting, so that some of those things can actually be ironed out. And for us, what I would really care about is so much what CID does, because the Constitution mandates that I direct them in investigations. So for me, if CID is doing the right thing, that will be good for us. Then with our collaboration, we actually now get other criminal justice actors. Like the judiciary, we get them into the conversation. Like prisons, we get them into the conversations. And other security agencies, especially when you come to deal with terrorism. Terrorism, we normally depend mostly on intelligence. It starts with intelligence. Then it works backwards, and we see whether we have evidence enough to take actually people to court.
I think I can even sit there.